welcome to NVC, IGN's Nintendo podcast. I'm your host, Casey DeFreitas, and today I'm joined by Tom Marks.
Hello.
Per Schneider.
Hello, Casey.
And Brian Altano.
How are you?
Today, we're going to be talking about, I'm not going to answer that question. Today, we're going to talk about Mario Maker because we just watched the 15-minute direct, and it was really awesome and really surprising. There was a car, there was a claw, there was a moon, and a sun. No Pokemon, though.
You could spend the next hour just being like naming individual things. It was like one of the most sort of densely packed, frenetic directs that they've ever done. It was pretty much nonstop details and information. I was taking notes throughout the whole thing. I was like, oh my God, there's a lot.
I see them here.
It reminded me of our April Fool's Nintendo Direct that we did, where we had the whole everything's coming to Switch theme. It felt like everything is in there except for one thing.
As soon as Mario was in a hot rod, I was like, where are we going?
That's right. Pretty crazy.
Yeah, the game looks awesome. I'm super excited for it.
So, Brian, can you give us a breakdown?
Sure. Okay.
I know. It's like,
let me go top level here. So Super Mario Maker, originally released on the Nintendo Wii U and the Nintendo 3DS, was the first sort of interactive Mario level maker that Nintendo had ever released. It had a very sort of brief story mode style thing in it that had a couple of pre-baked levels that Nintendo made, but ultimately this was up to you and the rest of the internet to create and share levels. It was a massive success, despite the fact that the Wii U was mostly not. And people made incredible levels in the game that they shared all over the world that went on to be basically big YouTube streamer type, just amazing things to watch. And then millions of auto-run levels that were not as interesting. For the sequel coming to Switch, which is already an immensely successful system, meaning that there will be a lot of people playing this game, Nintendo is piling on lots and lots of new things. Specifically, Mario Maker is a game about designing 2D Mario levels based basically on the original Mario, Super Mario World, Super Mario 3, and New Super Mario Brothers. And now they're adding even more art styles like 3D World and...
That's the only one.
That's the only one for now.
Or I think
Still
was three.
no.
Was 3 in the first one?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Still no Mario Bros. 2.
No Mario Brothers 2.
Probably
No
because
Game
that
Boy
wasn't-
Love, but
probably because that wasn't actually a Mario game.
It's a weird black sheep. And so what everyone did with the first Mario Maker was basically create these incredible original levels using a kind of ridiculous combination of interactive assets that had historically appeared throughout Mario games and putting them in weird, terrifying, dangerous, precarious, and borderline impossible places to create what is effectively an endless Mario Brothers game. And it rules. So for the new one, they are piling on just tons and tons of new stuff. So instead of like breaking the mold and overhauling the entire thing entirely, they are building upon the foundation from the last game and adding in
So much
Everything.
more.
here.
Yeah.
Let's get into it. Yeah. So
jumping
Everything
the
is
shark.
here.
yeah, so there's a couple things we've seen before. Slopes from Mario 3, the sun from Mario 3. Now, the slopes are basically...
Sun.
The Angry Sun.
My favorite.
You could, in Mario 3, you could sit down on a hill and slide down with your butt and kill anything that was living and walking up and down it.
I mean, you get a dry bones too.
Yeah, and a dry bones.
and then that was I mean, as somebody who made a bunch of levels for the first one, that was a highly requested feature.
Yes,
Because
yeah.
you couldn't make some of the shapes that you wanted to do just with the stair stepping. This is awesome.
Yeah, and so I think that was the thing. It's like this is getting closer and closer to looking like the thing that we theorized Nintendo would hypothetically use internally to make their own Mario levels, which means that like all of the limitations are breaking away. And I think what's really setting Mario Maker 2 apart is that it's the parameters and the amount of interactions that you can add to it and change is what's really making it special. So some of the big things you can do here is you can add water levels, which you can now change and rise, adjusting the speed in which they rise and fall. Same
You do that
for
with lava, too.
with lava too. Same for auto-scrolling levels, which you can basically set up so they will start scrolling at specific areas, which happens when you're playing regular 2D Mario games made by Nintendo. And they can also stop scrolling to keep you from seeing sort of hidden areas that are out of play.
Yeah. You can finally... I tried to do a skyscraper level in the last one. I had to break it up by multiple screens. Now you can go vertical and you can actually scroll up.
Yeah, and so there are tons of new items in this game. There's the 10 coin item or 30 coin item or 50 coin item, and you're probably wondering why would you need like coins in a Mario game, because like lives don't really count.
To tempt people to do dangerous things.
Exactly. And also there are new basically things that you can set as like goals for when you reach the goalpost. So say I build a level and I throw it to you guys and you get to the end. And you're like, I beat it. And I'm like, no, you didn't, because I actually set a thing that said you had to get 500 coins throughout the level. So there might be a perfect way to get 500 coins, or you might be really like liberal with it and put coins everywhere. But that's up to you. There's also Seesaws, which we've seen, like a lot of the sort of like mechanical vehicle shaped things we've seen throughout Mario games are here, and they're playable, and you can adjust their trajectory.
And kind of retrofitted for the old art styles. I always love that.
Yeah. So there's a lot of like questions we have about this right now. Obviously, like the big thing is that you've always been able to switch between art styles. Right off the bat, I would say like the coolest thing we've seen so far is that 3D World, which was historically a side, like a sort of like a 3/4
kind of isometric almost,
isometric, I think, but basically a 3D Mario is now being entirely recreated in 2D, and Cat Mario's there, and Cat Bowser's there, or Meowser, and 3D bullet bills that appear from the background into the foreground, and all this stuff. I feel like I'm talking a mile a minute. If anybody else wants to dive in.
There's just so much.
You're missing one of the biggest additions. That's the on-off switch. No, the on-off switch. If you think people were creative back then, creating calculators and things in the game with very simple means, the on-off switch will let people make really complex contraptions. You're going to see some insane stuff with the on-off switches.
Yeah, and so there's a whole bunch of things that you can do with that on-off switch in terms of like basically making items fall or enemies fall. And I have a feeling there's going to be a lot of scenarios where like you are running along and you have to jump on an on-off switch and it's your only option. And by doing that, you set up more traps. And people will
make a piano with it.
Yeah. I mean,
you can do the note blocks and all of that. And sound effects.
People use the last one to make a lot of sort of like death-defying Rube Goldberg machines that also played music. Like weird thing, like a Koopa shell goes through the whole level and it plays like a Kanye West song. It's bizarre. So all of that's here too. One of the other new things is the moon, which you can swap in from the angry sun, and it's not as angry, but it changes basically like weather effects or gravity.
Yeah, it's
depending on the theme.
It's essentially a hard mode for every theme that is in the game. So the underground becomes literally flipped upside down. The desert theme, which I think is new in this one, gets a sandstorm coming in. The snow theme, which is also new, gets slippery floors. Basically every theme, which is normally just a visual thing, now has an actual functional gameplay difference if you're in this night mode.
Yeah. So you could basically build a level in Super Mario Bros. 1 graphics and then switch it to be underwater nighttime with upside down gravity in 3D World graphics.
Yeah.
Woo! Yeah, and this is the thing is I feel like this direct was really interesting too, because it started out first 2 or 3 minutes of it. I looked over at you, Brian, and I was like, this is all we're going to get. It's just not going to be new stuff. And it started out really slow.
Well, it's like Mario can jump on the items to collect. It was like, oh, you can get a mushroom and get big. And you're like, I know. I'm old.
Then it jumped the shark, man. And it went crazy.
I
and
think
it started talking about all that stuff. And
when
it started
showed a car.
Yeah.
That's when I
Mario.
lost it.
But
What is happening?
The crazy thing about that, too, is like Mario, like the Super Famicom logo flashes on screen and Mario jumps in a car. And you're like, what is any of this?
Yeah.
And they even added smaller things like the swinging claws, which are like a little like grabber claw.
UFO catcher. You can
Has that ever been in a Mario game?
No, I don't think so. So now they're not only just taking stuff from pre-existing Mario games, they're just making new items too.
Yeah.
And with those new items and new features, there's like a full-fledged Mario game built into this in story mode. It's like 100 new levels.
So
and
the last game had, and I kind of like alluded to it a second ago, but there was like it was sort of like a straight line with some dots on it that had like Mario at the beginning and like the princess in the castle at the end, and there wasn't really a story there. And now there's this almost like I don't even know how to explain it. You basically play through 100 levels, and by clearing levels and collecting coins, you build up your castle, which is kind of like what we saw in Super Mario Run. And then building up floors at the castles unlocks more levels and more areas that you can explore, which is very like kind of Mario 64-ish.
Yeah.
That's huge. That means that even if you don't make levels in this game and you don't download levels in this game, Nintendo in a month is launching a brand new Mario game that has 100 new Nintendo-made Mario levels.
It's
with
also
Koji Kondo music.
Yeah. That's amazing.
New Koji Kondo music.
It now makes sense that New Super Mario Brothers U came out already, because it would be moot now.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, there's no more reason for that game to come out after
Except-
this.
maybe the lack of co-op 4-player.
Okay, maybe that's the only one.
Yeah.
So it does have. So this game is going to have multiplayer, but it's all online. So you can play 4-player co-op, but only online. Or if you've got a bunch of friends with the same game in the same room with their own Switches.
Hey everybody, it's me, Tom, who's really, really mad about this.
Yeah.
I'm so upset about this. I'm so happy.
So
let me be happy
just to
first.
clarify, they did not specifically say there will be no co-op, but they only talked about online.
Yeah.
That there won't be single screen co-op. But I mean, the reason probably is they couldn't get it to work because the levels that are going to be created are not going to be very 4-player friendly. You know,
But you can play it online.
Well,
hold on. When you're online, you can be in a different part of the level. Versus like when you're all together, you all have to execute the same thing perfectly. And in these user-created levels, I bet they're just not beatable. I think we'll find that you can't beat them.
So wait, let's talk.
I'm still disappointed.
Let's talk about that part real quick because that's one of the obviously the big pushes for this game is connecting it online and basically then thusly justifying your Nintendo Online subscription for the year, which like they're rolling out some pretty cool deals for. But one of the things that I really enjoyed seeing was the ability to filter level types is really cool.
Oh yeah,
like,
thank goodness.
Yeah, because we were just making a joke. Like everyone made those auto-run Rube Goldberg levels, right?
And they all got upvoted to the wazoo. So like when you went into the game, you would only discover those levels at one point.
Yeah, it was kind of a bummer. And so I think for this one, you can sort of set which types of levels you want to play. If you want to play 4-player co-op levels, if you want to play underwater levels. I didn't get a chance to like really dig into that, but I think like there's going to be a lot of filtering options, which is awesome.
So, but here's why I'm disappointed because I think I'm more disappointed about the fact that there's seemingly, because I guess we have to couch it in that, seemingly no local multiplayer besides building levels together, because there is co-op to build levels together, is that it seems like they've done it really cool with the online play. The fact that there is both a versus mode and a co-op mode where you can either work with people together playing these levels or kind of fight against each other and see who wins. That's really cool. And that's something that we've never really seen in a Mario game ever. And I love the chaos of multiplayer Mario.
Yeah.
Like New Super Mario Bros. U with 4 players is a nightmare, but it is one of the most enjoyable nightmares I've ever played.
I'm sorry, Brian.
What?
Yeah, we had that Let's Play, man.
Made you die multiple times the last time we played that
It's
together.
it's part of it. I don't take it personal. I'd be upset if you didn't, honestly. If you were just like tiptoeing and being careful, I'd be like, this is not fun.
So
you got to go all in.
I wish that Nintendo, if the reason really is that you can't be on the same screen or whatever, that sort of thing, I would say they did that in New Super Mario Bros. U, and it was chaotic, and it didn't really fully work, but it worked fine, and they've done it before, and I would have loved to see that again here.
No, I would love a 4-player single screen mode like that, but just the amount of testing that went into you, it must have been
Me?
No. New Super Mario Brothers U. I think people had to play this game with 4 players over and over and over to make sure that it actually worked with 4 players.
Yeah.
And you will not have the benefit when you're creating a level online for other players. You don't have the benefit of testing it with 4 people at the same time. I think that's probably the issue they ran into. It would be awesome if they tried in some way to make it happen. Maybe a different category of levels that are approved for 4-player single screen. I don't know.
Think of that.
It's doable somewhere, but yeah. It was a bummer when I saw that too. I was like, "Is it? It's all online."
Can I talk about get a little speculative with
Yeah.
the 3D world thing?
Do it.
So one of the things I noticed in the menu when they were switching over to 3D world was there was a game styles section that had all of the normal 2D Marios, and then it said there was a different section that only had Super Mario 3D World in it that said extra game styles, and 3D World was the only one in the list. And part of that is that 3D World has certain mechanics like the clear pipe and like bonsai bills that can only be used in the 3D World created levels in Mario Maker 2, which they talked about. But also, why would you say extra game styles, plural, if there is only one game style in that list?
An E3 announcement.
You think so?
I mean, I don't know. Why not,
yeah.
right?
I would not be surprised if there's another weird thing coming.
They did announce the E3 Invitational for Mario Maker 2 as well.
Which I'm so excited
yeah.
for. It's just the only thing that bums me out is it's like right before, it's the Saturday before E3 really kicks off. And one of my favorite memories, and Zach talked about it last week, was all of us piled into the war room just yelling at the TV watching.
Yeah, it's so entertaining to
But
watch.
that's going to be really, really fun.
So you think this means they'll have DLC, or do you think there are modes hidden in it?
100%.
Either.
Yeah.
Either or both. I think that I would not be surprised at all if this game launches with only those 5 modes, but I think that they are leaving themselves space, literally and figuratively, to be like, hey guys, here's an Odyssey theme for $5.
Yep.
Here's a Galaxy theme that adds star gravity stuff for $10.
Yes,
so
and I buy all of that.
Michael, and there's a big space for it right now.
Yeah.
Like there's the 3D world thing. It says styles, and there's a big white empty world of opportunity.
Yeah.
Sitting right there.
And I think that's something that they're just very likely just leaving the door open, but I think it does indicate that they're at least thinking about it.
So the issue with that is, what if that brings with it its own set of items and everything, and you can, like, if they charge you $5 for that, then you can't. You know what I'm saying? You can't.
What if you can't use them online? That sort of thing.
Yeah. Or like you could only people who paid can play it, and that feels like it's kind of walled off. And that's not really their style.
Yeah.
That's a fair point. I
mean, how are they handling like Smash Brothers stuff?
What do you mean?
You can pay.
You just can't play or create the levels that you haven't bought.
Like
or maybe you can't.
Like, can I play on Joker's stage if I didn't?
That's what I'm
if you
thinking.
queue into it, and like someone else online like picked it or it went random into it, that's fine. You can play on it online.
So maybe you can play them, you just can't create them. They could do that system.
Similarly, you can fight against Jokers. You just can't play as.
Right.
Then it's a nice incentive to go back into the game again and again, right? When they actually drip out new content.
I mean, it seems like there's a ton of content in there already.
Yes.
I wasn't. If you weren't already excited for Mario Maker 2, I would assume everyone to be now.
I am surprised.
Yeah.
This
There
is
is so
way
much
more than
stuff.
I was expecting. I
Me
thought
too.
this would be a quick one for them to bring this game, deservedly bring this game back, and this is not a quick job they did. That's a lot of work.
Yeah, and I want to
Just
reiterate,
the
like,
swinging claws thing, man.
Oh,
That little
God, yeah.
Castlevania thing that they put in there now.
the dry bone shell, like the
there's
like
a brand new Mario.
Yeah, it's like a new
Dry Bones
power up.
Mario.
Yeah.
And so he can like play dead.
Yeah, and
Hide
be
in the
invulnerable.
bones of his enemies.
I want to reiterate, like, if you're bad at making video games, or you just, that part doesn't appeal to you, I think this is still like a really valuable package, just for the 100 original levels, and also the fact that there are just an endless amount of Mario levels you can download.
Yep.
Like, even if you don't want to make anything, like just going in there once every couple of days and downloading a bunch of levels, which you can save offline, I read. Which is really cool.
I'm
Yeah.
going to spend way too much time on this again.
I'm really happy about that too, because I play my Switch a lot on the train, right? So if in the morning I can download 4 levels and then go on the train and play them while I go to work.
I wonder if they'll do a similar thing like they did with the Smash Brothers creator levels, where you can queue them up from your app.
Oh, if they don't, that's a missed opportunity.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't necessarily say it's an opportunity that Nintendo would be like out of character for missing, if that's not too harsh.
You're like, this would make perfect sense, so you're going to do it, right? And they're like, nah.
But I hope they do that. That would be really cool.
That's a good idea.
That would be awesome.
Hey, we're excited for Mario Maker, but you know what we all saw last week that we were already excited for before that? Detective Pikachu.
That's right.
That segue was bad, and I'm sorry, but if you're watching the
great.
video, you see some friends on our table. We got Psyduck Ludicolo, medium Pikachu, and as Tom just brought out, I got a big Detective Pikachu.
His name is Medium Pikachu. He's just medium.
This is medium Pikachu on the table.
Yeah.
I got big
Chu
Pikachu.
Pikachu.
He's a psychic.
Oh my gosh, but look at this thing. If you're looking at the video, these plushies were sent to us by the Pokemon Company, and they're available on the Pokemon Center online. This is one of the best Pikachu plushies I have ever seen.
So it was weird when
It is amazing.
I saw the movie and I loved it, and when I walked out, I was like, how are they going to do merchandise for this? Because Detective Pikachu's character model in this movie is different than regular Pikachu. He's kind of dirtier, and his hair is a little longer. He's just like a little rough around the edges. I think that's like that swagger that Ryan Reynolds brings to the character.
The answer is ignore that part and just make Pikachu toys.
Well, no, I think like I feel like he's a slightly more long-haired Pikachu than the usual ones.
yeah, he's more fuzzy for sure.
And then you said his rosy cheeks are like painted on.
So we noticed Psyduck here had a little bit of pink on his belly, and we're like, where did that come from? And I rubbed the back of my hand on this Pikachu cheeks, and his cheeks come off. We rubbed it with some paper. Don't hold it too close to your clothes.
The movie was a really good time.
We're going to avoid spoilers, by the way. So anybody who hasn't seen it yet, don't worry.
No Detective Pikachu spoilers here.
I haven't seen it yet.
I would say it's like certainly positioned as a kids movie, but it's one of in the way that it scales for all ages, like a great Pixar movie would, where like adults are laughing at stuff too. There are some like kind of dark, edgy jokes in this movie where I was like, wow,
well,
okay.
The intro, the entire first 5-minute scene, it's amazing. Honestly, the whole movie is worth just that 5-minute scene.
Yeah, and it was also like they handed me a pack of Pokemon cards on the way into the theater, and like it's just like it's such a wonderful thing. I was reading interviews with people who worked on the film, and they were like, "This is a weird choice for us because this is like if we had made a Mario movie by starting off with a Dr. Mario movie."
Yeah, no, for sure.
Like the funny part about that is, I really, really enjoyed it, and I respect that it's also a kids movie, but like I just kind of enjoyed it as a movie in general. And to me, I don't want a Detective Pikachu 2. I want this to be the proof of concept for so many other IRL Pokemon movies. Like I'd love for them to just take this exact theme and this exact style and just make other Pokemon movies.
Yeah.
I wouldn't 100% agree with you.
Like I wouldn't complain about Detective Pikachu 2, and honestly Hollywood loves their sequels, so they might go that way.
We are getting a sequel. We already know we're getting a sequel.
There you go.
Really?
Yes. So it came out that Oren Uziel, who did 22 Jump Street, Cloverfield Paradox, and most recently Sonic the Hedgehog, is writing the script for Detective Pikachu 2.
Sweet.
So I haven't seen this movie yet, but did they go completely pacifist on the notion that people have these friends to battle each other? Or
The battling element is definitely downplayed.
There's battling in there.
There's a canon reason why though, because Rhyme City is a city where people have partner Pokemon and they don't have Pokemon in Pokeballs. Everyone lives outside of Pokeballs.
And this is explained very early in
and battling is outlawed.
But was this a cheesy move to make this more kid friendly? That there's no.
No, I don't think
feel
so.
that
I think
way.
it was just
PETA don't come after us.
No, I think it was just an excuse to have more Pokemon out living in the world.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
honestly,
the fight scenes and the stuff that is like the actiony stuff is like it doesn't pull punches.
Okay,
it's not like
cool.
Not kitty.
I unabashedly am a huge Star Wars fan, and one of the reasons I like those movies is because they're very compositionally busy. You can kind of look around and be like, oh, in the corner over here there's like a Womp Rat, and up here there's a spaceship.
So much stuff.
And Detective Pikachu is so much fun to look at because of that, and I'm glad that they're all out of the Pokeballs because it makes it so much more dense. And like you're looking around and you're like, oh, there's like monkeys up there, and there's a rat down there, and then like the sewer grate's open. There's some guy over here. They all have names I don't know, but it's probably like Ratatouille or
You're pretty close.
Yeah.
You actually got one of those
Good job,
right.
Brian.
I did read that Garbodor was cut from the film, and I think that's absolute BS because he's the best
It's
Pokemon.
garbage.
It is garbage.
All right.
I'm sorry, Tom.
I'm just disappointed.
I'm just proud of you for knowing a Pokemon name.
Garbodor?
That's his favorite Pokemon.
I knew that, and I forgot the horse's name. Damn it.
See?
No, I taught you that
You
one.
taught
Come
me the
on, he's
horse's
your
name.
best friend.
What's his name again?
Mudbray,
Mudbray,
the donkey.
the donkey.
All right.
Great horse.
But we very much enjoyed Detective Pikachu. I really hope that they do more Pokemon movies, even outside of the Detective Pikachu, storyline. I guess
Yeah.
I don't really know where else they're gonna go with this. Maybe they'll have a tie-in with another Detective Pikachu game. I know Miranda would be super
Maybe it'll
excited
be
about that.
Dr. Magikarp or something.
Dr.
Another profession.
Yeah, but this was a really
That'd
good
be
proof
really
of
funny.
concept. So
Yeah.
I'm on board for whatever else
Super
they do.
on board. We got some other Pokemon news as well. So this morning, Pokemon Rumble Rush, a new mobile game, dropped on Android in Australia. It's coming to iOS and worldwide later. It is a continuation of the Pokemon Rumble series, which started on the Wii back in 2000. When was that? 2000? I don't know. Forever
2000,
ago. Yeah. But it's a fun beat 'em up where the original games, you would run around as a toy Pokemon, and each Pokemon would have 2 moves, and they were assigned to 2 different buttons, and you would beat Pokemon up and hope that they knocked over so you could collect them and add them to your roster of more Pokemon. You go through stages. They each have different Pokemon that you can find, different boss Pokemon. It's a fun little game. I played the mobile one. and they definitely mobilized it a little bit more than I expected. Like when I heard about this, I was like, oh, they'll do their combat like Dragalia Lost, where you can move and then, tap your attack button. They took, each Pokemon only has one attack now, and you cannot freely move them. It just moves for you in a straight line. So you can dodge and like tap the Pokemon to attack, but they took away a lot of the freedom from it, which I'm very disappointed by.
So they
immobilized
it.
They immobilized it. Oh man, but yeah, they really simplified it. They also added some new mechanics called ores, which are basically loot boxes, which you can get at a random chance by defeating a boss in each level. Once you get one, you can't get one from that level again. So it's
Is this going to make you poor, or are you going to be able to resist?
So. You know what? I didn't even see what you could buy. So I guess the reason that you would buy things is to speed up. So once you get these loot boxes, it takes a certain amount of hours for them to open. So if you want to speed that up, you would want to buy currency for them to speed up, go faster.
So you have to spend money just to make the loot boxes not tired enough to open up?
I guess so. I don't know. It's ores. I don't know. You refine them. They turn into
Mobile
boxes.
games.
Sounds got random stuff in them.
Sounds like what Blades did. Elder Scrolls Blades did with its mobile thing.
I haven't played that.
It's a similar thing where you get a treasure chest full of random loot and you have to wait a number of hours to open it.
Oh, yep.
It's the pay to wait or pay to not wait model,
that's,
which is not the worst. It's just one of those. It is one of, in my opinion, the most transparently consumer unfriendly game mechanics you can possibly put in a game.
Because if you have patience,
it
doesn't matter.
But at least it leaves the door open for kids to okay, I'm going to switch to my other game. Okay, I'm going to switch to my other game.
Exactly.
Right? Like there is an out for kids who don't have the income to spend on these games. They still get gameplay out.
Yeah. I mean, we are a couple of weeks away from actually seeing and potentially playing Mario Kart.
Oh yeah.
Mobile.
Oh right.
And I'm still really wondering where that's going to fall in sort of Nintendo's library of how they handle online stuff. Because Mario Run was $10 and you just owned everything. And then Animal Crossing, I played that game for almost 8 months before I was like, I'll throw some money at this. And then Fire Emblem, a little different. And Dragalia Lost, obviously, is a little bit more like, you got money?
Yeah. Yep.
And so I wonder I don't know if the cars are going to get tired or whatever in Mario Kart. These things happen.
Tired cars.
Brian, as I told you before, all cars have tires.
Yeah. This
Keep
is so
doing
terrible.
this.
Like the puns.
And it's still so good.
Yeah, they're the best. But I am a fan of the Pokemon Rumble series. I still like the game. It's just not as good as I feel like it could have been. It just got simplified so that it's more accessible for more people, I suppose.
Do you think we'll ever get a full-fledged Pokemon game on mobile? Because I feel like there's always
they might re-release old Pokemon games, because I know people have been using emulators to play Pokemon Red on their phones for years.
What was the low poly one they put out last year for mobile?
Pokemon Quest.
Yes,
that's out on mobile.
Yeah, and Switch.
Yeah.
Actually, I played a ton of that because I was I think it came out 2 weeks after I had a baby, and I was just holding a baby and just tapping with my free hand.
Terrible father.
Making Charmander kill the things.
What about this? When can we actually play this? Do we know yet?
It's just said soon.
Because right now it's only available as of recording this, on Android in Australia.
They always test it in a smaller test.
Yeah.
They said it said soon, coming soon.
So could be this week, could be the next month.
Usually it's a couple of days.
Yeah. It could be available right now as we're talking about this, and this is all totally irrelevant. Who knows? But I mean, it's free. Check it out if you like Pokemon and tapping stuff, collecting Pokemon with different moves that do different things. I still really like the mechanics of the game.
Good job, Australians. You got one up on us.
Same with Harry Potter too. I got a Harry Potter mobile game. We don't have that. Yeah, I know.
Is that already out in Australia?
Yeah.
Oh man.
I know. We were like, oh, we need to get an Australian freelancer to do this, and they're like, oh wait, they're already doing all the other Australia only things.
It's a perfect test bed. It's a giant country with very few people in it, and so you can test online infrastructure.
We should get a Australian phone in the office we trick it into thinking it's only in Australia all the time.
I tried to do that actually.
Does it work? Oh, we
you
did?
have one?
Yeah.
Oh,
no. We have one.
Of course.
The trick
How else would I have played it?
She thinks of everything.
The trick is you have to have been in the country to set your region there. So you to get a new one, we would need a phone from Australia.
And just to clarify, I don't own one. IGN owns one.
Yeah.
Well, we have to be able to test across all the different nations.
Right.
Our app.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah, that's actually where the phone came from our QA department.
There you go.
Yeah. So next, some news, a little bit. Tetris 99 DLC adds offline and marathon mode for $10.
Ooh.
There was a funny headline when I first saw it. I'm like, what? The whole point of Tetris 99 was to be this perk you get for subscribing to online.
It's still a perk, though,
and
right?
Yeah, it's still there. And now you get offline if you pay.
Yeah, pretty much what it is if you have the online mode, you have the perk of playing Tetris 99, and if you want normal Tetris, you can just buy normal Tetris for $10.
Right.
Ooh, I do want normal Tetris. Although I already have normal Tetris in Puyo Puyo Tetris.
Yeah.
Puyo Puyo Champions just came out, too, but I haven't played that yet.
But that has no Tetris whatsoever.
No.
That is
That's
correct.
going backwards. We're getting farther away now.
God, I didn't buy that yet either. And I like Puyo. But it also has the 99 player offline mode, so you play against CPUs.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just to practice?
So yeah,
Practice
if you're
mode.
scared of getting beaten by humans,
You can get beaten
You can
by
rage against
CPUs.
the machine
news.
instead.
I am.
Yes, there you go. But it's a good. I mean, it's a good training thing, and it's obviously you can play it when you don't have an internet connection, which is
That's right.
Yep.
And we also did mention some things about Nintendo's E3 plans about Mario Maker, but we also learned that what time and day Nintendo Direct is going to happen, which is Tuesday, June 11th at 9 a.m. Pacific time.
Mm-hmm.
So you can tune in for all of your E3 stuff, and they'll probably have an hour of Treehouse streams immediately after a 45-minute presentation.
That's right. And be sure to watch these on IGN because we're doing a lot of really cool pre-show, post-show stuff this year. We recorded some special stuff the other day.
That was really fun.
Yeah. I don't know if we could talk about it, but it was really
whatever.
cool. But we're
It's
gonna
there.
we're gonna roll it throughout before the show. So
And we're also
Show
doing
up
a
early.
pre-show and a post-show.
yeah,
So we'll be there.
Yeah,
Talk
so you'll
about
get-
our favorite things.
you'll get tons more NVC at E3.
Interestingly, added this announcement though, because the plans themselves is like, yeah, wow, they are having a show. That's what a surprise. But the fact that they specifically said they're only focusing on software that is coming out this year, right?
Don't they always say that?
But what
I
is
guess they
software,
do.
Tom?
Yeah.
But
They do, but then like Reggie comes out and he's like, I know I made a promise, but here's a Metroid logo coming in 2027.
But they have been pretty
There's no
vocal about it
Luigi.
not
I
being
know.
a hardware reveal.
Yeah.
Whereas like Microsoft will not answer that question.
yeah,
yeah,
You know.
yeah,
And
that should be a really interesting.
Sony
E3.
will definitely not have any hardware or software. At
Well,
E3.
I was
Well, because Sony's not going to be there.
I was talking about this with IGN Max Scoville the other day, and I figured something really weird about Nintendo's E3 presence is that they took this sort of wavering, meandering approach to conferences, which is just like the 60-minute to 90-minute live show where a guy with a suit, or a blazer and a T-shirt, kind of like wobbles around stage, and there's technical difficulties. And they said, let's turn that into a tight, streamlined, 31-minute long expose of nonstop video game news. And you're like, perfect. That is the perfect distillation of exactly what I'm looking for at E3. And they're like, followed by a 4-hour live stream that has plenty of like game announcements sprinkled throughout it. Like Metroid Samus Returns was announced in their Treehouse live stream
Same
post
thing
show.
with Amiibos.
Yeah, like
But I mean, to me, it's a cool solution to the fact that E3 did open its doors just a little bit to fans. Fewer people this year. 10,000 people are let into the show, and so Nintendo has a stage show for people watching and waiting in line. And you do have to wait in long lines for Nintendo stuff. So they have that, and they live stream it at the same time. I think it's a cool.
No,
solution,
I think it's awesome.
Yeah.
It's just like it's sort of from our perspective, we're watching it and we're kind of like, where's more game reveals? More news.
Yeah, we've seen this before.
Yeah, yeah.
sure.
We've seen them catch a Bulbasaur in the Viridian Forest 6 times now. Is there going to be a different type of Bulbasaur? Is there a new Pokemon here? No. But we did have some fun with it.
Yeah, no, it's always a good time.
So there are some games out this week, but not a whole lot.
it's a slower week.
Yeah, it's pretty slow. But hey, Brian, you said you were playing a lot of Saints Row the Third.
Yes, which man, how do I unpack this one? So we did not give it a great review. I think we gave it like a 5.5.
Oh, a 5 out of 10?
A 5. We gave it a 5 out of
That's
10.
what it says here
Perfect.
on my paper of knowledge.
Which is like, I hate to be the guy that goes, but Saints Row the Third is a really fun, if dated, open world like crime video game that you can play on your Switch. There's nothing to compete with it right now in terms of like, there's no GTA. The closest thing we have is Lego City Undercover.
Yeah.
Which is, a very different game. And it is a basically completely over the top, comical, slapstick, open world crime game. But on Switch, it has some technical issues. And so in handheld mode, I noticed that it's like mostly playable. Frame rate kind of goes all over the place a little bit here and there. I don't think it's as bad as something like Ark. I don't know if you guys played that on Switch, but that was like not great.
Really poorly, yeah.
Real quick, I need to interrupt because I just solved this mystery. 5/10 is the date the game came out on Switch.
Oh, I lied.
Because I was like, we didn't give that game a 5 out of 10. The original review was an 8.5, and then Ryan gave the Switch port a 6.8.
Oh,
Okay.
okay. That, much higher than
Thank
I
you for
thought.
solving that mystery,
I was
Tom.
like, that
Okay.
yeah. 5 out of 10 is May 10th.
May 10th.
So
Who dates?
the developers promised a big day one patch, which was delayed by a week, which now has to get called something different. But
Week 2 patch.
yeah, in handheld mode, I think this game is a blast. It's like really goofy. You can turn on cheats. It comes with all the deal. It's one of those games where you can tell you're 7 years late to it because when you started off, it just goes through 100 things that you've unlocked. It's just like, oh, you've got this, and you're like, I'm really overwhelmed. When playing docked, that's when this game really started giving me issues.
So it's noticeably unoptimized.
There was
bummer.
like frame rate stuttering, screen tearing. It's incredibly dark docked for some odd reason. Like I had to go in and bump the brightness up on my TV just to play it. I was like, so it's not great. So it's got a lot of technical limitations. It's $40, which I think is a little pricey for a game that's like 8 or 9 years old. But once you actually get into it, it's a really fun open world game, and there's nothing else like it on Switch. And I think it's my favorite Saints Row game.
Okay.
But yeah,
So maybe wait for the patch. Maybe
Wait for the
this is
patch, see
Something
what that
they
does.
can figure out. But I'm staying away from games that aren't ported well.
Yeah.
Because I feel like it's kind of exploiting good games and audiences who have waited for certain games. Make the ports better.
Yep,
Yeah.
I agree.
I'm gonna wait. I'll see. I'll play it if they patch it.
Yeah,
I'm sure they will.
I will
I guess
also.
I'm not actually sure, but I'd like to be.
I will also add that the humor in the game is very early 2000s. Like,
Yeah.
there's a lot of stuff in there where you're like, ooh, I don't know if you could do that these days.
Yeah.
Not enough
But-
puns?
There's a lot of like hyper comically perverted stuff in this game where it's like it's not offensive or anything. It's just like really goofy and slapstick.
It's like South Park humor.
Yeah, it's like South Park humor, and it's not. I'm not saying any of it. Like, there's a part in the game where like your character who you can choose to play is like a completely nude man, runs out into the room, basically like shooting everyone in the head while a Kanye West song plays. And a lot of those things have aged well, and a lot of those things have not. But putting them all together at the same time is a perfect like sort of timestamp of early
man.
2000s.
That's hilarious.
But I think it's still a very fun game.
Yep.
So also out this week is For the King on May 9th for $24.99. It's $5 off right now.
Yeah.
What is that game about?
That game is really cool, actually. It's as weird as this is, 3-player co-op like board game, pretty much. And it's like an
Now I wanna play
RPG
it.
board game. So you
Is it multiplayer?
Yeah, it's 3-player.
All right.
It's actually I think you have to play it in 3-player, or if you're playing single player, you control all 3 of these characters, and pretty much you like make up an RPG party together. So if you get into a fight at the end of a turn, like if you step on a square with an enemy, if your friends are too far away from you on the board, they won't be part of the fight, and then it goes into turn-based combat, and you actually do the fight. And it's really like a match is crazy long, actually. Like, they're meant to be saved and sort of picked up later. This is a game that came out on Steam, I want to say in early access like 2 or 3 years ago, and finally like launched last year. And
Sounds like a Mark's like.
it's a little, it's not quite my style actually, but it's weird, and I really haven't played another game quite like it. This sort of board game RPG multiplayer hybrid
That
thing.
sounds awesome, and I
cool.
want to play it.
Yeah, it does sound fun.
It's really, really worth looking into, and it's got a very good rep on PC, so it's one to check out on Switch as well.
Sweet.
Yeah. Also coming out this week is Rock of Ages 2, Bigger and Bolder on May 14th for $14.99.
I wish I could understand this game based on screenshots, because it looks like a historic monkey ball.
That's not a bad description. It's
Okay.
like the way I've always kind of described it is pinball tower defense.
Oh, okay.
So it's like the board is like enemies come at you and you're like trying to defend yourself from them, but the way you do that is by like pinball paddling a giant rock at them.
Yeah.
And the entire theme and kind of humor of the game is basically like, if you know Monty Python, it's like the interstitial cartoons between Monty Python skits that are all like paper cutouts of like ancient medieval paintings is like the art style of this game.
Super deep cut, and I know you remember this. Do you remember a game called Odama for Nintendo GameCube? That was like
the drum controller based pinball game.
That.
It was a historical pinball game where you took down waves of troops, but it was controlled with a microphone.
I do remember that.
You could also drum the beat. You could hook up the Donkey Konga bongos too.
Now I want to play it again.
It came with a microphone peripheral that clipped onto your GameCube controller, and you yelled at it to...
Yes, that's right. You had to give it commands. A really clever game, but it just ran like crap. It was just not very well
Remake Odama for the Switch.
Yeah.
Bring Odama
Make
to
it happen.
Switch.
Please
and
don't.
Hey You Pikachu.
Don't do that.
All
it'd
of
be
the
great.
microphone games.
Yeah.
We want it. Hey You Detective Pikachu.
Yeah, that's right.
Make it happen.
Oh,
Also
man.
coming out this week is Darkwood on May 16th for $14.99.
That sounds very Tomish.
No, actually, it's a 2D top-down horror game, and it similarly was on Steam and got a kind of a cult following there.
Okay.
This was one of the ones
Haven't
that was
played it at
in
all.
that big indie direct back in February. March.
Oh,
it was in the direct from that.
That's
and
right.
It's just finally coming out on the phone.
Okay. Yeah, I might actually take a look at that one.
Yeah.
Yep. And lastly, we got Project Nimbus Complete Edition on May 16th for $19.99. It's $2 off right now.
Just got
Pear,
it.
you're playing it, right?
Yeah, no, I just started. I mean, I
Okay.
only scratched the surface. Just got a code for it. It's how do you describe it? Best? It's like
It's a mech game, right?
But it's more like Ace Combat. It's like a free roam mech game with
sounds
controls
cool.
where you can fly into any direction, boost into any direction, use your missiles to lock in. Yeah, it's definitely I don't know how the upgrade system or anything like that works, but it seems to be pretty well put together for Switch. I was impressed with the look of it so far. Yep.
Yeah. So
I'll play some more.
I would also like to play it. It sounds cool.
Yeah.
But what are you guys playing now?
I am playing Crystal Crisis.
Oh, yeah.
That's that new puzzle game, right?
It's not out yet. And the version I'm playing is not completely finished yet. It's really fun if you like Puzzle Fighter. It's a game where blocks drop from the top in pairs of 2, and you have to kind of connect all the different colors and then drop a crystal on them, and the crystal makes them shatter.
Cool.
And then all your characters, you can pick different characters, like in Puyo. They all have
And Street
special
Fighter.
moves you can use
What
against the
What
opponents.
is that? Street Fighter puzzle? Street Fighter puzzle
Puzzle Fighter.
Turbo?
Street Fighter Puzzle Fighter Turbo doesn't sound like
No,
a real
that's
video
not
game,
it.
but
No.
also sounds like a real
But
video
Turbo is in there.
game. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a joke. I don't
Yeah.
remember
Oh,
what it
I
was
see.
called.
But
Okay.
that sounds like something Capcom would actually do.
No, it's an awesome game.
EX Championship Deluxe too.
This game it's kind of I don't know how much I can say, but it has characters made by Nicholas, so it has Nicholas's characters from like games like Cave Story in it, and if you look at the character select screen, there's some interesting things that I don't think we can talk about yet.
So, some of those are known. Some of the
Yep.
character
Okay.
crossovers are definitely
Yeah.
known. Like the fact that
I forgot which ones are known,
Oh, yeah. So,
but there's some cool indie game characters in that game, and then
okay.
I'm a big puzzle game fan, so I played it against Justin, and Justin beat me, so I'm going to be playing it a lot more to have my revenge.
And Brian, we already talked about Saints Row.
Yeah, but I do want to say real
Yeah.
quick that by this time next week, I will be playing Resident Evil 4 on Nintendo Switch. One of the greatest games ever made. Those games, the 3 Resident Evil games launch on Switch, I believe, on the 21st of May. So Resident Evil 0, Resident Evil Remake, and Resident Evil 4. Very cool.
Yeah.
Very
coming
nice.
right up.
Tom, what are you playing?
Cannot wait.
A lot of Picross S3 because Picross
Yeah.
for life. Picross faux life. That puzzle game still continues to get me. The other thing I've been playing a ton of Rage 2 on PC, but that's not on Switch. Unfortunately, I was actually kind of sad that Bethesda didn't just go all in on all of their games for Switch. I understand why they didn't, because their games are really pretty and graphically intensive, but it was really cool to see them do things like Doom and Wolfenstein and commit to those, and I was a little sad that they weren't just like, yeah, we'll do Rage also.
Yeah, we got Skyrim, and also, I mean, did they announce like any of their upcoming games are coming to Switch as well? I feel like they did.
I thought they did the
Yeah,
next
yeah, yeah.
Wolfenstein. Yeah,
That for sure.
The twin. What is it?
Nope.
I know what you're talking. We talked about it on the show. I know. What you're,
Could Rage run on Switch?
I don't think so.
Yeah.
It's also a completely different engine. It's not id Tech. It's
also it looks beautiful.
Yeah, it's
Really
Avalanche's Apex engine, so I'm sure that's part of the reason why they didn't do it, is
Right.
because they figured out a way to make id Tech games run on Switch, and they didn't for Apex. So I get it. It's just a little sad.
I think it's more likely we'll see them return to Fallout 4 or some
Yeah.
of the previous
Yeah.
releases.
I'd be okay with that.
And once again, I'm not slighting them for not bringing this. It just was like, it's cool that they're going in at all. And then the other thing I've been playing, I played a little bit of because I had a long flight, and I kind of just picked it up to see what it would be like, and didn't expect much from it, was a game called Braveland Trilogy. It's not new. It's 3 games that were out on Steam a while ago that have been put together as a trilogy on Switch. Came out, I think, a few months ago even. And I was like, all right, this is fine. It kind of feels like a mobile-y game, but basically it's just the combat from Heroes of Might and Magic distilled into a really, really simplified game, where the outside of combat stuff is just, you're walking around a level select map pretty much, and it's not very deep at all. But the combat itself is just simplified Might and Magic, and that's like, it's really cool.
Is it like a sort of passive RPG you can play like while watching a TV show?
You could, yeah. It's a
Because I'm always looking for stuff like that.
Yeah, it's a tactics game that's pretty, like, you gotta think, but it's not like crazy hard. So,
Right.
and there's 3 difficulty levels, so it's definitely one of those things where you could just kind of go through it. I've played probably about 5 to 6 hours because I had long plane rides, and I enjoyed it more than I thought I would.
Yeah.
Wolfenstein is Youngblood.
Youngblood.
There it
It
is.
is
Yeah,
the
with the
twin
2
sisters.
daughters. That's
Yeah.
right. Yeah, the 2 twins.
Thank you. Youngblood.
There are twins in Youngblood. That was the confusion.
Yes.
So I haven't really been playing much else except for Smash recently, because I am been really busy this year. Well, this week. Yeah, my mind is that's fine. Oh, also Pokemon Rumble Rush. I started playing.
That's right.
because wikis.
Available on Android in Australia.
I'm Mr. Mom right now. My wife is traveling the entire week, so I have to take care of the 3 kids and the 2 dogs. And man, is that always a good reminder how good it is to have your significant other at home instead.
Yes.
I was working myself through mountains of laundry, thinking, "Oh, I'm gonna play some games tonight." I ran out of time every time, like for the last 2 days already.
Shout out to all
get
the-
a minute of gameplay in.
Shout out to single parents. Doing great. We
Yeah,
love you.
I don't know how you do it. Jesus.
No. Oh. So hey, it's time for a game called Question Block. We're gonna
Sure.
play it. It's the game where we answer questions that our readers send in to us on nvc@ign.com or on our Facebook
Is
group.
this something like Zach told you about? Because I'm
It
pretty sure
is-
that's not a game.
It is
I
a
don't think it's a
tradition I
game.
took from
It might be a game.
Zach for sure.
No, I don't
I stole it from him.
Yep.
Rip Zach.
That's
He's,
right.
He's not. He's fine. He's
Yeah.
he's at Ubisoft.
I
I
remember
can tell you guys
Zach.
that now.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Oh yeah,
that was-
Zach announced
Yeah.
his new gig, so go to @ZachariasD on Twitter and show that man some love.
Hold on, I got to remind my oldest son to go to drum lesson because otherwise he doesn't go, and then the teacher calls me. So
Why would you just not go? I guess I've been a
because
kid
Aki
too. I would also just
Aki
not do
will.
things.
I set reminders around the house, like our Amazon Echo Alexa
Yeah.
will actually say it out loud, and he still manages to not go.
I don't know what kind of students you all were, but my favorite thing in the world growing up was to not do a thing.
Yeah. You-
That was my favorite thing.
I
was like, you have to go do this thing. I'd be like, all right, yeah, sure.
I liked to do the bare minimum and then study last minute, and then if anything would ever go wrong, I would go and negotiate with the teacher.
There we
Whoa.
go. Sorry, I sent the reminder. I said
That's amazing.
Aki drum lesson, and then I texted the rest of the family. Said kids who are not Aki, remind him. There we go.
You did it. We're good.
That's right.
Outsourcing
Aki, if
that
you're
work.
listening to this show and you didn't go to drum lesson, we're done.
He would have already missed it by now, right?
Over.
Yeah.
You will not inherit the Schneider fortune.
Oh,
You got to be
fine.
reminding him about whatever he's got to do tomorrow.
That's right.
At like 4 p.m.
That's right.
Yeah.
So our first question comes from Nick Chevalier. He says, if all powers, tools, and weapons were negated, who from the Smash roster would come out on top in a round of old-fashioned fisticuffs?
Oh, so that means not items eliminated means like they're built-in weapons. So Samus's blaster doesn't work.
And Pikachu doesn't have electricity.
Who would win?
Ooh, well, that's Ridley.
Right, because this has powers,
Ridley,
right?
because Ridley has teeth and is a giant dragon. So
well, Ridley's fire breathing wouldn't work, right?
Yeah, but I mean, he's still like way bigger than
bitey.
everyone, though, right?
And Spear, she's got that alien tail too.
Yeah.
Or Bowser, just kind of sheer mass and spikes.
I think, would Kirby be able to inhale people?
I think
well, they would. He would, but he wouldn't be able to spit them out.
He can't poop them out,
Dr.
so you would
Mario
just be horrible.
from like bio warfare, but is that a power of a doctor?
That's a power. You can't.
No, that's also incredibly dark.
Yeah.
I was going to say Mario would be dead because he's just like a regular human man.
I started watching The 100, and like there's bad stuff in that, man.
Got it.
Really, when it comes to natural powers, Little Mac has that punch.
Oh,
he's a trained boxer.
He's a trained boxer, for sure.
Whereas like
those aren't
Mario
real
probably hits
He's beaten Mike Tyson.
I'm sorry, but I would take a giant gorilla over a trained boxer any day.
You
put Mike Tyson in the ring with Donkey Kong would win.
You're right.
There's
I
zero,
don't know. Mike
there's
Tyson
zero
would
chance.
bite him probably.
All right, so it's
The
between
dark-
Donkey Kong, Bowser, and Ridley.
I'm gonna put Game & Watch in there too.
Ridley.
What?
Because he could just go 2D and no one would be able to hit him.
No.
That's
go
a
flat
power.
against the wall.
That's a power.
No, it's just who he is.
No, that's a power.
Don't
Being
don't
2D
body shame Game & Watch.
You're
That's
not
who
taking
he
this
is.
seriously, Tom.
Are you thin shaming Game & Watch?
No.
Yeah, no, I think I'm so confused by this.
Who is the most powerful character if they don't have a handgun? Just to put it in New Jersey terms for you.
Right. I mean, I think it would have to be the boxer or the gorilla.
There you go.
I think we're there.
What about Ridley?
I don't know.
Okay, here's what I'm going to say. It would be Ridley if it was actual size Ridley. If it's Smash Bros. Size Ridley, I think that Donkey Kong and Bowser and Little Mac would have a chance.
I think
You know
Ridley,
what? I think Bowser has a really good chance because he can just turtle shell it.
Can he use his claws?
Well, that's
Claws,
like a part of
yes.
him,
That's a
right?
part of his body, right?
Yeah.
Because like Ridley is like pretty damn weak outside of its mouth.
Yeah.
Spear
Like
tail.
right.
No, it's kind of like a gangly.
Impaler tail.
I would say
Nobody can impale anybody with their fingers. Ridley can do that.
Yeah.
I think Donkey Kong would tear Ridley's head off.
All right, fine.
All right. Final votes, Tom.
I'm going to go Donkey.
Yeah, Donkey Kong.
I'm gonna go with Ridley. It
Ridley.
can fly. It can
Totally.
pierce things with its tail.
Tiebreaker's
Fair.
up to you guys, apparently.
Ridley.
Yeah, let us know.
All right.
This is a good
Brian?
one.
You were
Donkey
going-
Kong.
Okay, yeah.
Fine.
Please
They
write
should make
us
Powerless Smash Brothers.
Please write us at nvc@ign.com and let us know who you think would win, Ridley or Donkey Kong, or a whole other character that we didn't think
What
about.
about hold on? With like a dude
Ridley.
with a sword? Can they use a
No,
sword?
no
No.
weapons. No weapons or tools.
Oh, sorry. I should have
All of the Fire Emblem
specified.
characters are out except Corrin, because Corrin can turn into a dragon. Wait, is that a power?
So
no,
Ridley
it
can
is-
use-
no,
That's a
Corrin
power.
is a dragon. The power is to turn into a human.
Oh.
Corrin would win.
We were so close to getting out of this tunnel. We saw
Still
the
think it's
light.
Donkey
What if
Kong.
somebody was
Done?
like, wait?
It's still Donkey
We're
Kong.
done. It's a
It's
power.
those
You
fists.
can't
It's
do
got
it.
those fists.
Ryu versus Little Mac would be a fun fight, though, regardless. Just
Oh
like in
yeah,
real
for
life.
sure. Like
Seems
a
like
real
Little
Real
Mac
life
would
Ryu
get that one
Yeah.
because Ryu would be all like Hadouken and nothing would come out.
But if you
Oh,
didn't
yeah.
have powers?
Yeah,
Oh,
and
yeah.
then-
you're
And then
right,
Little
you're
Mac
right.
would just go Brooklyn on his face. Like,
That's right.
man, it's good. I'm going with Little Mac.
all right.
Thank you
Maybe
for that
Donkey
question,
Kong.
Nick. It was very
That was
amazing.
terrible. Don't do that again.
No,
No, I
love
like
those kind
that.
of questions.
That's better than all the wizard. If a wizard took away your
We
shoes, or
are
whatever.
getting
Okay.
so
So many wizard
many
questions.
wizard questions.
Do we have a wizard question?
No.
And but they're also they're
all
they're
dumb.
they're reskins of regular questions. Like if you were on a desert island, you could only have 2 games. But now it's just like if a wizard forced you to live on a. We're like, why
Okay,
is the
I-
wizard part
Okay,
of
the
the equation?
best
liked
wizard
that
question
one.
I read was, if a wizard forced you to only pick 5 games for the rest of your life, how hard would you punch that wizard?
I like the wizard questions. Thank you.
I would punch
Thank
him
you.
very hard in Powerless Smash Brothers coming to Nintendo Switch this fall.
Thank you, audience. Never change. And thank you for that comment.
Yes.
All right. Another question from Charles Poby Mensa. He says, "Hi NVC team. I
Hello.
was actually cutting it close for your Mario Odyssey spoiler in Zach's final episode. I just finished the game not that long ago. That made me think of this question for you at the risk of spoiling things for the NVC audience." We're going to give you spoiler alerts, so just be on the listen for that. What video game moments were spoiled for you? I'm curious to see who has the best or possibly saddest moments. Love the show. Keep up the great work.
Well-
P.S. I haven't played Breath of the Wild yet,
Oh,
so in
God.
case your story involves it, have mercy on me. Yes, we do exist.
So how about? I
know.
mean, I feel like we can talk about it without spoiling what
Yeah.
exactly happens,
Yeah.
right?
So-
I'll go first.
Okay.
Red Dead Redemption 2.
Oh.
The ending was spoiled for me, and I saw kind of like people commenting about what happens, and I thought it was a joke, and then I saw it 4 more times on like in IGN comments and YouTube comments on Twitter. I'm like, all right, now I know what happens. But luckily,
the dragon.
Luckily, it's the dragon. The dragon comes out. Yep.
It's so weird they put a dragon at the end.
Little dragon comes out, and goes, "Hello again."
And you ride it like a horse, which I thought was strange.
It goes,
great game. I don't think I actually have one.
You've never had a video game ending
I've had tons of like movies and TV shows spoiled, but not a video game.
I had something spoiled for me.
What about the princess thing in Mario? Was that spoiled for you?
That she's in another castle?
Yeah.
No, I figured that out when Toad told me that.
Okay.
All right, Tom?
Final Fantasy VII.
Whoa.
A couple of big twists in that.
Not the ending, but the middle.
Yeah, the middle.
Okay.
I had that spoiled for me, but I actually wrote a whole article about
BioShock.
I love that article.
I wrote a whole article about how I avoided BioShock spoiler, which I won't spoil here, but I avoided the major BioShock twist like until 2 months ago or something like that. It was the first time I ever beat that game.
Oh, right.
It was the first time I had gotten to the spoiler part of it, and somehow I had managed to make it through the entire, like my entire career without ever learning about that.
Still amazed at that. I feel like the BioShock ending is almost like Sixth Sense or Usual Suspects.
It's
where it's
game.
like it becomes kind of like this meme. The key point to it becomes a meme, and like I wonder if anybody can now watch these movies without knowing what happens, but. Clearly, you were able to play BioShock.
It just went right over his
That's
head.
Great.
He's like, "Oh, these people are so nice."
And if you haven't played BioShock yet, it's still a great experience. I would play
it's a good game.
It's aged in weird ways, but not nearly as bad as other games that are
It's a monster closet game. Like it tries to kind of surprise you a lot with these little shock moments.
Yeah.
But the beginning is so cool. Just the whole way you get into the level is so amazing.
I don't think that's what Monster Closet means.
No.
Monster Closet is when there's like endless waves of enemies coming out of like
they
one
respawn.
invisible
No, you're
door.
right. It's more of a they place the enemies behind a corner to surprise you constantly.
Spook you.
Yeah, there it is.
But it's like there's a
game,
there's
but
a
not
trigger.
a horror. It's not that horror like. I was able to play it, so
It's pretty scary.
it can't be that bad.
I think it's pretty
I also
scary.
played it the entire thing with someone else in the room with me, so I don't know.
How
what
come
I'm
we don't
talking
have BioShock on Switch?
That's a good question.
I don't know.
All right.
Let it happen.
2K,
Well,
get on that.
so-
The remastered barely runs on PC still, so it might just be some problems.
So I also had Final Fantasy VII spoiled, but it's kind of by my own volition. I played Kingdom Hearts, and I went to my friend and said, "Hey, Cloud is cool. Vincent's cool. Tell me everything about this game." And then I got spoiled. But I also
I immediately regret
Spoil
this.
this game. Oops, you spoiled this game.
It's like,
Good job, Casey.
I was 11, okay, or 12. I was young.
Oh, I will point
But-
out Final Fantasy VII is coming out again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I've noticed this new sort of like conversation happening around the game. People sort of actively trying not to spoil it again. I think that's super cool.
Yeah. So we won't spoil it for you. But I will spoil Ocarina of Time for you, because if you haven't played that game yet, it's not going to happen. And also you play Smash, so that game is that's just an automatic spoiler. Zelda is chic. That was spoiled for me.
Really?
All right.
Yeah.
Oh.
I had
Memorable
I had
one.
no idea. I had no clue. I was like, "Oh, chic, it's awesome." And then it's like, "That's Zelda." And I was like, "No."
Well, Nintendo tried that, has pulled that trick twice. I'm not going to spoil the other game where that happens.
Well, they've increasingly made chic more and more feminine in each of her appearances as well.
So I luckily played
interesting.
Ocarina of Time the day before it came out, so it was not spoiled for
man.
me. And there was no real internet; it was all cords and phones.
It was just I was just talking to friends who had already beat the game, so that's how that got spoiled.
Oh,
sucks.
wow.
Yeah.
That was a nice surprise.
Yeah.
Whoops. Well,
And then did nobody spoil that Link was a girl in Breath of the Wild for you?
pair. Moving on.
What do you mean? I thought Zelda was the guy
That's right.
in every Zelda
By the way,
game.
if you're playing that game, that's just a joke. That's not.
It's not real.
My
Zelda's not the guy.
Tom was thinking about it. He's like,
Man.
did I not get the other ending?
I was in the,
I was genuinely curious
Okay.
for a moment.
when I was a little kid, I was at the mall with my grandma, and there was one of those kiosks that made shirts, and there was a shirt with the picture of Link riding Epona, and the face was blocked out with like your face. Like they would take a picture and put your face on it, and that was the shirt, and it said, "Look, I'm Zelda," and I got so mad. I was like, "Grandma, this is wrong. This is so wrong. I have to tell them that they're not doing it right."
How much was the shirt when you bought it?
I didn't buy that shirt. I was so angry. Grandma
I
had
would
to,
have bought that shirt. I would have
Grandma
two of
had
that
to
shit.
like usher me away because I was
Look, I'm Zelda.
I want a shirt that has my face on Link riding a horse.
Yeah.
It says, "Look, I'm Zelda."
It says.
Why can't Metroid crawl?
I miss Miiverse. Why can't Metroid crawl?
Oh, that's so good.
That is the
Those are probably the two most mixed up characters in just gaming, right? Samus and Zelda, Link.
Yeah, I think
it,
so.
Right?
In terms,
to be fair, it's because they named their game Mario, and then they were like, "No, we're not going to do that for the rest of them."
yeah,
Exactly.
exactly.
It's Nintendo's fault.
Yeah. It's
I don't
Legend
even know
of Zelda.
what's Contra.
Yeah, that's the name of the guy. His
What
name
guy?
is-
There's two guys.
Well, they're both. They're like the
no,
Mario
their names are like
Contra
Lance
one
and
and
Bass
Contra
or
two.
something like that.
They're Walter Contra and Wilbur Contra. They're the Contra brothers.
This is not true.
It is.
Get us out of here, Casey.
All right. So that's all for NVC
That's
this
it?
week. That's it.
Okay.
Thank you so much, everyone, for watching and or listening. You can find us every Thursday at 3 p.m. What, Brian?
Well, they're not going to come back after this episode.
No. Come back for
I
more
can't get the image out of my head of you like as a kid at the mall screaming at the kiosk, being like, "That's not who Zelda is," and it was just like random kids' faces on my. Sorry, that's really funny.
Okay, I've collected myself. Or have
It's
I?
hard to say goodbye.
It is so hard.
Please.
Thank you guys again. Remember, you can catch us every Thursday at 3 p.m. on YouTube or Spotify or any of your favorite podcast platforms. Gosh. Remember, you can always email us at nvc@ign.com for comments to tell us who would win at a powerless smash brawl and anything else you want to tell us or ask us. And remember, this is the only place you can
Get the thing. Hey, my son went to drums.
I'm Zelda.